All right, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's now 2 p.m. and we hope everybody is here to join us. We had some great response to this webinar, and we are very, very excited to get going through it today. Another SoCast webinar for all of you, advertising through the current COVID-19 crisis. And we're looking forward to sharing a lot of great insights with you. And helping you start to think about how you can recapture some advertisers' attention, how you can educate your advertisers, and how you can remain relevant to them during this crisis. Obviously, this is an unprecedented time, and we'll obviously talk about that a little bit more as we get into it. But we are very excited to do this with you today and have some great insights. So stay on board with us, and I think you'll get some great things out of it. Moving on to the next slide, we always do our little bit of housekeeping, as you know. Please, as Thomas mentioned just a couple minutes ago in the pre-webinar, please feel free to ask questions. Use the chat box down there or the questions pane on your GoToMeeting panel there, and we have some people moderating questions. Obviously, we'll do our best to get to all of them, but if we don't have a chance, we will certainly guarantee that we will address all of them, either right after or in the next 24 hours, so bear with us if we expect a lot of questions. You can always retweet your thoughts about this webinar. @SoCast is our handle on Twitter, and you can always hashtag digital dollars. Today, I am back as probably not really the host. I'm sort of Thomas's sidekick today. For those of you who sat in our last presentation, Supercharging Your Digital Revenue, it was the other way around, but I'm thrilled to be working again with Thomas. Together, we'll be co-hosting this. And again, Thomas has a great deal of information and knowledge to share with you. He is our digital specialist here and our ad specialist, helping all of our ad partners really thrive with our programmatic ad solution and our ad extension solution. And he's open and willing to help anybody who's currently not taking advantage of that, anybody who's attending as our partners, and those who aren't SoCast partners currently. We'd love to tell you more about how we can help you grow your digital revenue using our SoCast ad extension product. So today we are going to cover a few things, really five different sections to our webinar today. We're going to bring you up to speed on the current state of COVID and how it's really impacting radio and just the world in general from an economic standpoint. We want to go over some marketing trends, specifically advertising trends and statistics that will help frame our conversation and help frame some actionable tactics that you can take away from this webinar. Next, we will talk about the importance of having a digital approach in this time and the value of togetherness in connecting with both your audience, your advertisers, and having them connect as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Thomas, and Thomas, looking forward to hearing all your insights today.
Absolutely. Thanks, Eric. And thanks, everyone, for taking the time to join us once again. Tom here, and I'm really excited to share with you many of the opportunities and many of the things that we can kind of work through during this difficult time. Eric mentioned that we're going to be touching on a lot of the COVID-19 severity, and unfortunately, this has taken a massive toll on a global scale. This is something that we're all very new to. This is a time where we need to be there for one another. We need to respect the situation. We need to respect other individuals. We need to really help one another through this new time. It's very, very, abnormal for us to be in a state of position like this. There's a lot of people that are unfortunately losing their lives to this, and there's many people that are ill, and this has really developed a chain reaction across everybody and everything, So our life today has really changed. It wasn't really what it was 60 days ago. Just like we're doing right now, I'm sure a lot of you are doing the same. We're working remotely from the comfort of our homes. We're sanitizing our hands every 10 minutes. We're stuck on lockdown, and more importantly, we're forced to pay extra attention to elderly people and the folks that we care about most. This pandemic has caused a massive shock to many, many people across the globe, as we know. There's many practices which we're putting into place now, and health professionals are putting into place now that we've never had to put into play before, and so we're just adjusting as we go. Now, with that being said, it's caused a chain reaction. COVID hasn't just affected health, it's affected many things outside of health. It's affected global supply shock, so production and supply chains, many adjustments being made there. You know, it's very difficult to even go to your local store, your local mart. Shipping times are longer. You know, there's higher demand for certain products and essentials that we need on a day-to-day basis, and this has caused the demand shock. Businesses are closing. Not all of them, but a lot are. You know, people are experiencing layoffs, temporarily, permanently. This is a massive shock, and it's caused a lot of the business owners and the C-level individuals to really pull back on costs, to really make salary cuts and financial decisions during this time. It's definitely taken a toll, but we're here today to give some light in areas of dark to show you that although these things are happening, we do have solutions. We need to use our creative mindset to get past them. And so we're very excited to do that for you today. Now I'm going to pass the economic impact over to Eric. He has a very good understanding of what radio has been seeing these past few weeks, and he's really going to inform you as to some of the stats and some of the things that we're currently experiencing at the moment. But before we do that, we're going to look at the impact on the economy. Obviously, there's lots of dollars that are being funded by the government in America and in Canada. As you can see, these are figures that we've pretty much never seen before. Government is funding over $2 trillion to help combat COVID. They're trying to, pay, and they're trying to provide loan systems and things of that sort to entities, organizations, and individuals that have lost their job. And so, you know, deep pockets are much needed right now. And unfortunately, it's causing the economy to be impacted very heavily. And also in Canada, you know, we're experiencing a mass amount of layoffs. Like I said, over $87 billion is being funded from the Canadian government. For the people that are joining us today that are within Canada, you understand that if you don't qualify for employment insurance, which many individuals don't, you're going to get funded up to $2,000 per month to just survive. That's really what it is. But at the end of the day, there are still consumers. No matter how many people are getting laid off, no matter how many people are losing their jobs and experiencing this difficult time, there are still things that need to be purchased. There are still essentials and day-to-day services that are in demand. And so once again, we're going to shed those lights as to how we could take advantage of that and do more than just survive during this time. So Eric, if you'd like to take our audience today through the marketing trends and some of the stats, that'd be greatly appreciated. We're really looking forward to seeing what you have to say about that.
Absolutely, Thomas. Looking forward to it. So I do want to mention that, you know, in the past 3 weeks, I have never used the word unprecedented and surreal more. I find it unbelievable how many conversations I have that I say, and it's daily. I mean, I say it's unprecedented. This time, we are in unprecedented times, frequently to almost everybody I speak to, and it still is surreal. It's unbelievable where we're at, and there is a tremendous amount of shock. I think, I speak to broadcasters every day, and I'm hearing more and more just anecdotally from you that, you're really all just trying to figure out what to do, how to reposition yourself, how to maybe, for some of you, stop the bleeding of your, the advertisers leaving you. But I think there is some good news out of this. And if we can take our eyes off, wow, I can't believe what's happening in this unprecedented world, we can really embrace the opportunity out there to sort of, and it may not be an opportunity to grow, but an opportunity to survive during this time. It is unquestionable that radio's presence and importance has grown during this time. You have remained a key source of information and have really grown the listenership that we've seen and the website traffic that we've seen as an aggregate across all of our partners using our platform. Web traffic is up, streaming is up, podcasting use is up, smart speaker use is up, mobile consumption is up. And while people aren't spending as much time in the car with your broadcast and signals, They are interacting with you in new and different ways. And this really is an opportunity for all of you to embrace the fact that you are no longer just a traditional medium. You are omni-channel content producers. And the quicker you embrace this, the more you'll be able to take advantage of this. You know, the radio model really caters to two groups, your advertising partners and your listeners. And you need to make changes to your business model to really bridge the gap between those two sides. So on this slide, you know, what we're really showing is, again, just your importance and how people are coming to you and why they're coming to you. They're coming to you, first of all, for comfort, to make them feel less alone, less stressed, less panicked, to find connection with your on-air talent. But for the advertisers, you are also an opportunity in your websites, your mobile apps, continued on air through your streams, have the ability to be that key source of information and keep your people more informed. It is more important than ever that you are doing this. This is what people are coming to you for, to find that information and to find out what is open, to find out who is delivering, what restaurants have curbside pickup and takeout. So there is an opportunity to strengthen your relationships with your listeners more than ever. So during this pandemic and after this pandemic, they will remain very brand loyal to you. Radio really has an opportunity to continue its renaissance that we were seeing before the COVID crisis, to capture the ears, more share of the ears, and to grow that brand affinity. Moving on to the next slide. You know, we really feel like the opportunity is to educate your ad partners. Why should they continue to advertise with you? Well, you have the reach. And in fact, your reach has grown with different population segments like millennials that traditionally weren't listening to radio as frequently. You can see that millennials are listening to radio 30% more. And then, of course, for your advertisers, while foot traffic is down, you can see that more and more people are buying online. So if you do have, and you set yourself up with a strong digital presence, strong mobile apps, strong website, that you have the ability to sell owned and operated inventory, and then you have a partner like SoCast and with our SoCast ad solution or other ad solution partners to deliver impressions above and beyond your owned and operated inventory, you can deliver more reach than ever before to your ad partners. You can help that ad partner connect with new audience that you traditionally or over the last little while, haven't been as strong with. And you have the ability to if you're delivering the proper solutions, to drive more conversions and more online purchasing for those ad partners. Thomas, over to you.
Yeah, so thanks, Eric. You know, not only are the buyer journeys changing and our target demographics are changing, but so are the behaviors. Like we previously mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, we can't just get up and go to the local mart anymore, right? We need to resort to the options that we have. We need to try and become convenient shoppers. That is the name of the game now. There was a fun fact that I shared with you at the beginning of the presentation before we got started. It said that in 2021, we're projecting over $2 trillion. I think it's $4.5 trillion in total e-commerce retail sales within the next year. And that's starting to really trend, and it's starting to really become aware. Now, how do you capitalize on that e-commerce opportunity? Well, you need to have a landing page for your advertisers. They need to be able to optimize for that. They need to understand that you are their trusted individual. You are their source of information. And so, you know, providing the masses and the advertisers and even the consumers with that kind of information and that ease through the buyer's journey, giving them the sources and the tools that they need in order to somewhat sustain regular living is the only option. And so, you know, a few months ago, we've seen a great trend in e-commerce. In fact, it's been growing over the years, much stronger, but now is the time where it's really capitalizing, and programmatic and merging that with your radio spot ads are really the solution in order to make that happen. It's diversifying your advertising channels and speaking fluently across all platforms. So the participation has risen. And it's not just the amount of people that have stopped going to these local stores and transferring their energy to online sales and convenient shopping. The advertisers can't rely on foot traffic any longer. It's not even an option, right? For majority of companies experiencing this mass impact right now, in some countries it's illegal. Some are putting very, very hard restrictions and bans about leaving your own home. So what option do you have? There really is no other option. But aside from the option, speaking in that sense, older people, elderly people in older generations, they're now even being forced to use digital, right? There was a story I heard from a friend of mine not too long ago, and he mentioned to me, he said, Tom, a friend of mine, he's an elderly man, he went over to pay a ticket down at the city, at City Hall, at the tax center there, and the security guard actually turned him away. He said, sir, you can't pay your ticket here. The elderly man looked at him and said, where should I pay my ticket? He says, you need to go home and you got to pay online. So now they're being forced to buy computers and buy cell phones and get their grandchildren to teach them how to use these things. This is very difficult to see. And I can imagine for some of you joining us today, this is a huge shock. And obviously this is a difficult learning curve for that generation. But it's, once again, opportunity for your advertisers to capitalize on new consumers, to capitalize on growth in revenue during these months, to be able to pay, the lease on the office in order to pay their employees. We need to capitalize on that. And with teamwork, we're able to do it. And I believe we're able to do it very well. So how should you be allocating your time? From a sales leader or salesperson perspective, who should you be talking to, and who's really worth the while at the moment? Well, first and foremost, you should be showing your brand or consumer loyalty to your advertisers consistently. This is a time where brand visibility is very, very important, showing a strong sense of brand visibility on your websites through O&O, programmatic, things of that sort. But by also not wasting too much time because we know, once again, that this is basically fight or flight. So, industries like, baby and toddler, pet supplies, grocery and health products, these are things that are taking a massive incline. I personally would be spending much of my time following up with my advertisers that are within these industries and that are in these markets that are active. This is a fight mode. We need to survive and we need to pay attention and make sure we're allocating our time effectively so that, of course, we can protect our organization, our entity, and our cared ones that are in our office and working remotely at the time. Now, spending less, there, of course, are industries that are more heavily impacted in a negative way, like automotive. I don't want to say completely disregard these advertisers. Definitely not. Still be there for them. Show them that you care. Show them that you can get creative with the strategies that we come up with as a team, and then move forward from there. And to add to that, there's some more industries that you can focus on as well. SAS service. This is probably one of the bigger ones right now, considering everything is online and everything is digital. Health and fitness clothing. How many people are buying fitness clothing and equipment for their own home now? It's I never would have thought a year ago, we'd be saying, wow, should I go for a jog today or am I going to get sick? It's something you think about in the winter, but it's definitely not something you think about when it's 20 degrees outside. Definitely take advantage of the industries that are showing an uptrend and are taking serious mass interest in digital and advertising in general. And then let's work together in order to make their campaigns as effective as possible. So tying the knot between radio and digital, what are we taking away from everything we just discussed? Don't limit yourself. I mean, advertisers now, especially the ones in the industries that we just discussed, are very, very interested in finding out ways to capitalize, finding out ways to survive and make it out at the end, right? Reimagining and reforming and envisioning what that brand, what that product or that service is going to do down the line is pretty much what they're thinking about now. So if we can include all of the advertising channels that we're able to take advantage of right now, then that's going to maintain that consumer loyalty and that brand loyalty that we've been discussing. Now, there's 5 phases to do that. We need to bring brand awareness to stage. We need to allow consumers to see what your advertisers are trying to promote, especially in a crisis like this. Phase 2 is recalling that stage, that brand awareness. Now we remember, right? We discussed that many individuals are listening to the radio at home. Maybe that brand recall stage is during a spot ad on the radio, considering that the listen times and the frequencies have increased. And that leads into part 3, which is brand participation. The goal is to get those consumers to go to advertiser websites and landing pages, right? Of course, the conversion is the goal, and getting them to become a return shopper is the long-term vision. But if we don't start with it now, it's going to be very difficult to win them over after. So now we can get into the digital approach side of things. How exactly can we make this happen? What are some of the things that we should take into account? How creative should we really get? And how should these conversations be structured when we're speaking with our local advertisers?
Yeah, no, Thomas, I think all of those points you brought up are amazing. You know, and now we get into the options, really. I mean, you know, radio can, you know, has really a few options, really. You can sort of roll over and you know, get busy dying, if you will, from one of my favorite movies. Get busy living or get busy dying is really what it comes down to. You can treat business as usual, or you can really focus, buckle down, and again, as I said earlier, you know, a few slides back, you can sort of embrace what opportunity is out there and come up with a plan. You know, open your eyes, take your blinders off, and start to see where you can focus. Thomas provided some great insights on, you know, some of the advertisers segments that you can focus on. But, you know, I think the next slide really provides a very effective model on what you can do as business operators and go back into your boardroom, sit down with your teams, and really use this 5R approach and these 5 horizons to really assess what is happening in the world and come up with a plan. And I think, you know, the more people you get involved to collaborate within your organization on these plans, the more effective you will be. I really felt that this, you know, that this model, this 5R model, all these 5 horizons are a great strategic planning tool. And, you know, when you look at it, the first thing you really want to do is you need to start and, you know, use the information we're providing you today to help you and your ad partners assess what is the impact of what's happening, resolve that impact. And what has happened, you know, we've identified that foot traffic is definitely going to be down in the majority of, you know, advertising partners, you know, maybe with the exception of grocery stores. Well, we're lining up outside of them, but you know, foot traffic is definitely going to be down, and that change may last well beyond even when our governments say it's safe to go outside. This behavior may change the way we buy and we consume for an extended period of time. So let's start to think about that and what we can do to plan for that. We can change. We have to understand that there is a changing in the buying behavior, and you have to shift with your audience and shift with your advertisers. This will allow you to remain resilient through this. It will allow you and your partners to thrive in this environment and take advantage of the opportunity in the short term to capitalize on growing with some advertising segments that you may not traditionally have served effectively or may have thought weren't prime for you. Now is a good time to go out and offer them some solutions. And I'm talking about comprehensive omni-channel solutions that combine an on-air traditional approach with a digital approach, combining your owned and operated inventory with a programmatic solution. And at that point, once you have that, you will be able to return to a position where you can grow after this whole crisis ends. You know, you really have that opportunity to take advantage of being that omni-channel solution uniquely. And this will allow you really to remain, again, resilient. It will allow you to reimagine your business and focus on new advertising segments and really get a leg up on your competition if you're able to offer effective solutions for now as well as after, you know, after the COVID. You will effectively reform your business.
And so what do those actions really look like, Eric? I mean, we're talking about, structuring for later days, and we're talking about, really planning during the eye of the storm for survival, and then setting ourselves up and our advertisers for success after the storm has passed. And so there's a list of 5 advised actions that we really would like to focus on from a technical standpoint that we kind of focus on when running and optimizing these campaigns. There's a few things in here as well that you would probably want to consider from a radio standpoint as well. Of course, in other terms, that can help your advertisers, but ultimately being flexible in almost every direction for you guys is kind of the promise that we have here for you. Being flexible with our budgets and our optimizations. We understand that a lot of entities, a lot of businesses are struggling right now to pay their bills, to keep the lights on, to continue influence in the media and maintain that brand awareness, that brand loyalty. But we have the solutions, we have the tools and the technology in order to maximize those little budgets that they have left or the big budgets that they want to continue growing. Okay, not only is that going to be one of the ways to make this happen, but continuing to share attention, right? We are driving attention through the media outlets that we have, considering spot ads being completely through the roof right now, digital, O&O, programmatic being completely in favor. These are the times where we can capture eyes like we never have before. And so sharing that attention using our technology pretty much is the only way in order to make that happen. And of course, we're going to rely on our conversions. We're going to continue to optimize, and we're going to be able to reach now almost all generations in many, many different ad formats, from cell phones, tablets, computers. There's really no way to opt out at this point. We have those capabilities and they're here. Let's build on those conversions and continue to structure a plan for your advertisers to further that plan through this crisis and out the other end in a better fashion. Return on ad spend, right? Sustaining the ad spend that we talked about, that little amount that they have left or the amount they want to continue to reinvest. They see that growth. This is the best way to do that. No one's going to be purchasing billboards anymore. No one's going to be doing in-person advertising, and they're not going to hire the pizza man to flip that sign outside anymore. They're going to be they're going to be redirecting their thoughts and their process to the capabilities that are convenient for consumers, and that's any form of advertising that they can experience from the comfort of their house. Now, the best thing about this is that we are able to shift with those changes based on the data that we collect. We've said this before, and we'll say it again. Programmatic advertising and digital in general has quite phenomenal ways to identify trends, to identify behavior changes, target demo changes, and better understand the customers as they become realigned and as they shift through a time like this. This is actually our test to you and to the advertiser to ensure that we can sustain conversion rates, we can sustain digital revenue rates and retention based on the data that we are being provided on a day-to-day basis. The fact that we share those insights and those pieces of data with you is a fantastic conversation booster when you're speaking with your clients, because it's capabilities and it's a one-up that they're going to be able to have against their competition that may just be under par right now, that may have actually gone out of business. So, with less competition, with sometimes less resources on a competitor level, we will always have the one-up, which means that your advertisers will have a one-up as well. So what should be the focus right now? What should you be talking about with your advertisers? What should be your approach? What should your checklist pretty much be as you're doing your day-to-day follow-up? So we know there's many changes, and with changes becomes, tasks for realignment. Objectives aren't the same as they were 60 days ago, right? The advertisers you were speaking to 60 days ago that are your clients would say, yeah, I want to sell as many cars as possible. The objective is to get in-person scheduled appointments. Well, maybe that objective has changed now. Maybe they want to drop off the car to your home to be able to test drive that vehicle. The objectives are going to shift as well, and so we need to shift with those objectives. First and foremost, we need to understand those goals in order to come up with a creative strategy that is marketable to consumers today. Is the product or the service convenient? Can the consumers purchase the product or the service from the comfort of their house? Can they order it on their phone? Advertisers need to be aware of this and grasp exactly this new concept by the horns. We need to be able to ensure that ease, or else it's going to be a very slim chance that their consumers are going to convert. So please make sure that you review that with your advertisers. And there's of course many ways around it that we can make it work. They can hire a delivery person, they can create online services, they can create a new landing page. Whatever the case may be, we can make it happen. Discounts and bundle packaging between spot ads and programmatic and O&O. Just like everybody else right now, this is a time to be coming up with promotions. We need to show that loyalty to our advertisers. We need to ensure that they are being taken care of and that you are able to be flexible with them. And so promotions and discounts and bundle packagings, things of that nature, those are the things you want to be thinking about right now in order to help boost that acquisition and level of engagement across the advertiser level and the consumer level as well. Encouragement, always be there for them, right? That's a no-brainer at this point. This is a time of respect and thoughtfulness. This is about being a human and not being a salesperson. So I would definitely consider continuing that. I know a lot of you are currently doing kind of, the things that we've talked about in the past of the same nature, and then making the recommendations from a technical standpoint as well. So do we need to extend campaign duration? Probably a very good idea, right? Wallets aren't very heavy right now, and people are not becoming impulsive buyers because they're spending their money wisely. And so extending campaign durations to 90 days from 60 are a great thing to consider, right? The buyer journey has now slowed down. It's expanded. People don't see 1 or 2 ads anymore and then make a conversion. They may now look at 3 or 4 or 5 before they make a decision. So let's extend those minimum campaign durations to 90 days, and let's really try and create that long-term goal and build milestones as we move along forward. Other recommendations on a technical standpoint, like being optimistic and trying new creatives. Maybe your advertiser wants to try a video. That would be a great idea as well. This is a time of emotion. There's many families that are hurt and distraught, over the impacts of COVID. And so video does a really good job in explaining and expanding that emotional attachment that they're trying to build on. And you can also use COVID-19 as a marketing advantage. We've seen in our earlier slides that 44% of consumers don't mind COVID being mentioned in an online ad. That's also something to consider as well. It can make a real message and really help, build a sense of, relativity. You could be relevant to what's happening. At the end of the day, we're human and we're in this together. So, we don't need to be afraid to mention these things when we're going out to market as well. So, Eric, once again, you've seen a good deal of broadcasters and radio stations, take a turn for the better during this time. Speaking on the topic of discounts and promotions and advertising, what are some of the things that radio can be seeing? Is there a trend that is kind of taking over at the moment? Are there certain promotions and practices that they're taking into consideration? Please expand a little bit, maybe on this slide for our audience, so that they can better understand what approach to have directly to their advertisers.
Yeah, I think there's, again, a lot of opportunity. I've heard some great initiatives and seen some really strong initiatives from a lot of our partners and non-partners out there who are really trying to foster new connections with a wide variety of advertisers within their community. And, they're obviously, there's a lot of goodwill out there to support those advertisers. Some great ideas we've seen is a local gift card, like this one, where they are promoting people to buy a local gift card from participating businesses. They're really doing this very much as a free opportunity for the advertisers to list. There's no cost for this, but they are really encouraging people to spend money with advertisers, even if they can't redeem those gift cards, as much as possible in support of them. And at the end of this crisis, when it's all over and we can go back into the stores, or they can use them, they can certainly utilize those gift cards afterwards. From the radio station's perspective, very frankly, there's a lot of goodwill in this, number one, but there's also a lot of lead generation opportunity in this, because you'll have some advertisers who are going to be very thankful that you offered them a free platform or a free opportunity or a very cost-reduced opportunity to advertise. Maybe it's bundled in with some advertising, but an opportunity to get the fact that they are open, to promote some business for them. And again, as a little bit for those advertisers who aren't currently in your book or on your roster as a partner, perhaps there are some that you can retain after this crisis is over. So number one, I think that there's a lot of goodwill that can be done by our partners. Two, that it can turn into a potential relationship either immediately or after the crisis is over. It goes back to that slide with the 5 R's, the 5 horizons. This is what life can be like you're sort of planning today and lead generating and establishing relationships for after the crisis is over. And something like this campaign that X929 did, and is a great idea. And one that should be commended for both from a business standpoint, as well as from a community goodwill standpoint.
Fantastic. Thanks, Eric. I really appreciate the insight. I'm sure our audience does as well. And looking outside of the scope from being a broadcaster, salesperson, we want to get a better understanding of that togetherness, that brand loyalty to the consumers. So, for the salespeople that are in attendance today, you may experience some conversation around, well, what should I include in my online ads? And here listed on this slide, there's a couple examples of that I find are very, very creative. The first one being the Popeyes example. Popeyes did a great job identifying what the day-to-day consumers are doing. I don't have the exact figures, but I know that online downloadable streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus, they have gone skyrocketed, right? There's a huge amount of populations that are downloading these streaming services. And so Popeyes went out of their way, made an affiliation or a partnership with Netflix and said, you know what, for the first 1,000 people that buy this chicken sandwich from us, we're going to actually reward them with a free Netflix account. We're going to share our Netflix password with our customers. And I found that to be extremely creative. And it really catered to that convenience market, right? The people that are living from the comfort of their home during this time. Very, very creative, and I find to be very, very successful. So please feel free to use something like this as a reference during conversation with your advertisers so that they can start to get those creative juices flowing as well. And, never be afraid to reach out to other organizations in order to make it happen. The next one we can talk about as well with the GMC Buick Cadillac advertising model here, showing that loyalty right here for our community. It doesn't need to be very, very jam-packed. It doesn't need to be very, very busy. It needs to be simple. It needs to be caring, and it needs to be relevant to the consumer. And I found that GMC did a great job of doing that in this leaderboard ad here. So, continue to question us here at SoCal. Feel free to give me a call or email me and say, Tom, what are some of the things that you feel we should be involving in the latest creatives for my advertiser, for my client? They really want to get some introspect and get a better scope at how we can make this work during this time. And so, going back to these references, we can definitely make that happen. It's something that, quite frankly, needs to be done during this time, one way or another.
Tom, one of the opportunities I really see with the GMC ad is, and just as a general, is just the way the messaging and being there at you as radio sellers, being there and educating some best practices and taking some chances and advising and educating your ad partners on changing their messaging during this time so they can still remain relevant. You can see that that GMC dealership, the message was all about changing the way they're doing business. It's no longer about coming to us. It's about, we'll come to you. We'll make it easy for you. We understand that these are trying times. We can still make it convenient and easy and service you, pick up your car, do a test drive at home if you're in need of a car, etc. So I found that messaging was, really good. And I would, as a salesperson, if I was out there not telling SoCast, but was selling advertisements for some of our friends and partners, I would definitely be advising going in and pitching ideas as to how an advertiser can change its communications and resonate with the community during this crisis.
Absolutely, Eric. And, one of our clients, Coons, out in Pennsylvania, they did a great job with us launching this COVID-19 campaign as well, speaking to the fact of convenience, and we'll come to you and we'll make things easier for you during this time. We found that Coons did a great job. We've run this campaign now for the past 4 weeks. And quite frankly, it has completely skyrocketed. First and foremost, you could tell that the service is in line with what consumers are in need of. These are essentials, right? They're a grocery store. They have everything that consumers are needing right now. Things are flying off the shelf. And so Coons really wanted to take advantage of that, not only by allowing online shopping methods and convenience, but also to update their clients on what's going on with the pandemic, and to also give them employment opportunities. If there are multiple opportunities that your advertiser can provide to the consumer that you can make known during your campaign structure process, please, let us know, and we'll continue to brainstorm with you. We found that Coons did a good job making that known from the get-go. This is on their homepage. It's, from my personal kind of point of view, this is something that you just can't ignore. And so they're tackling areas that are very sensitive right now. People losing their jobs. Well, guess what? We have jobs for you. People can't go to stores. We offer online shopping, and we'll offer pickup services and delivery services of that sort. And then at the same time, we're going to keep you posted on what exactly the pandemic is doing and what those changes are kind of taking place, and how we're going to be, reshifting and realigning our model as we flow through there. That's very, very easy to understand, in my opinion, as well, through the actual online ad that they've created. Save time, click and shop, free pickup, boom. Don't worry about coming in the store. Don't worry about walking around for an hour and a half, with your 5-year-old trying to find the items you need and struggling to not find them. You're going to be able to see how much is in inventory on the website. You can come, spend less than 5 minutes, pick them up, and go back to the comfort of your home and stay safe. I found that to be very, very impactful. The colors that they use, the quality of the text and the CTAs, very, very direct. We are hiring right now. We know a lot of people are losing their jobs, but guess what? We're not one of those people that are doing that. We're not an organization to cut jobs at the moment. We want to help the cause. So we're going to hire you, and we're going to hire your friends and your family members to help support. Great job with this campaign. We've seen a tremendous amount of engagement, 7 times the American Display Standard CTR rate, which is phenomenal. So, this campaign ended up getting extended another 9 months. Coons had, they chose to double down on their budget and really go full-fledged with this. And, so far it's really paying off for them. An example that we can build off of to give all of you and your advertisers the courage and the motivation that this really is possible. And they did that through omni-channel advertising. They didn't just take advantage of a programmatic campaign. They also took advantage of spot ads through the radio. They took advantage of having, advertisements being plastered on their own website through O&O. Omni-channel campaigning, omni-channel bundling, like we said earlier, really the name of the game to maximize ROI and get through these times.
And one of the other advantages of, having a strong digital presence in this time is that the attribution is very, very easy. I mean, it's, we all, over the last year, we've all heard about, all of the solutions out there that are trying to track attribution of foot traffic from an audio ad, from a traditional on-air spot. But that comes built in with digital, Thomas. We can track how many applications, for example, they received from their We're Hiring ads, how many orders they received by clicking on the click to shop. And that is something unique and something of great value for you as radio broadcasters to be able to retain and continue to sell to your ad partners. You need to be able to deliver the data. And programmatic solutions, ad extension solutions, and even, just clicks on your own owned and operated inventory on your website, your banners, your boxes, your display inventory, that attribution is built right in there. So that is something else, you have an opportunity to prove and validate why and how you are impacting your ad partner's business firsthand with tangible data.
Absolutely, Eric. And, thanks for reiterating some of those things that, as many, like I said, many valid points today that we're really building off of. And it's very, very easy to go into thousands of directions here. The funnels have changed and consumer behavior has changed. And so I believe we're on the right path to continuing and maintaining that success for you guys and your advertisers as well through this time. And we're in full support along the way. Speaking of full support, let's really focus on the togetherness. This is a time where we are together. We need to say something. We need to speak up. We need to show empathy, build trust, and inspire, and just be human. Check up on your cousins and your friends and your neighbors and ask if they need help. I know, for myself, unfortunately, I live with my elderly grandfather who's got cancer, and so he's a high-risk gentleman at the time for this crisis. And so precautions are being taken very, very seriously. And I encourage you guys to do the exact same thing. Not all calls need to be sales calls. Some calls can just be a simple check-in to see how they're doing and see if they need any additional assistance with their, with their ads or with anything like that, any recommendations. A little goes a long way at a time like this. So I encourage all of you to continue having that mindset and building on top of that, because that will be the stake in the ground. It will be the standpoint of conversation once this is all over, that you are loyal to your advertisers. This is a fantastic advertisement that I love to read over and over again. I thought I'd share it with all of you. It's by Nike, and it says, you know what? You wanted to make it to the big leagues. You wanted to play professional soccer and make lots of money. Well, guess what? Now is your chance. Play inside and play for the world. We don't need to be taking risks when it comes to our health. We have these advertising solutions, and we have this creativity, solutions and different methods of implementation in place to help keep the safety under control, right? We're in that ozone layer, that environment where we're contributing to the good. This is for a good cause, and we're trying to minimize and mitigate the amount of virus contaminations and future affected individuals by catering to the masses and giving them the things that they need simply by the click of a button and in a fashion that's not going to negatively impact them. So huge hats off to Nike for making something so deep and so impactful in all of us. So Eric, I believe I've pretty much wrapped up for myself for a lot of the content today. I hope a lot of you are going to be emailing me and reaching out with your questions. Like I said before, I'm always available to provide you the assistance that we need. But I'm going to pass this last portion off to Eric, and I'm going to kind of let him wrap things up for us today, guys.
Well, great job, Thomas. Thank you so much for all those insights and really pulling all of this information together and working collaboratively with me on it. Let's definitely wrap this up. As always, one thing I want to do is, identify some key takeaways. So, definitely it is a time for you to adapt for your advertisers, and based upon consumption behaviors of listeners and buyers, there is an opportunity out there. There's a great opportunity for you to target different advertiser segments, some of the ones you currently and have always targeted, but also some new ones that are out there. Definitely look over what segments are available and where you may not be penetrating today, and definitely put together some prepackaged ideas and campaigns. Again, Thomas has already sort of said he'd be happy to help out. We'd be happy to help out. Anything really to help our partners and prospective partners grow, we are there for you. Educate your partners, again, on the changing times. What is the lay of the land? Why you as omni-channel advertising solution and marketing solutions are the best solution if they are going to put any money out there, or when they return to advertising, why you are that best solution. And again, of course, when we've used that term, omni-channel campaigns all the time. Bundle together your traditional radio spots with an owned and operated placement on your website, site takeovers, traditional banners, boxes, and leaderboard ads, etc. And pair that with a programmatic ad solution that will help you deliver more impressions wherever the advertiser's target audience is. Definitely help your advertisers, again, reestablish objectives and messages. I think Thomas did a great job providing you with some great messaging examples. And last but not least, my friends, Don't get busy dying, get busy living. Keep active, get out there, keep talking to your ad partners. Offer things that you may not make money on today. So down the road, the downstream effect will be some revenue, some brand affinity, and some new ad partners out of this. Just by offering goodwill and putting some, restaurant listings for restaurants that are doing curbside delivery and delivery, make those go that extra distance today. And at the end of it, you'll have some leads and you'll have some relationships built that you may not have had previously built. So keep active out there. We are all very confident that this is all going to pass over time. When we as human beings are extremely resilient. We've been through other major crises like these. This is obviously, as I said at the beginning, an unprecedented one. And we're shocked, but we are going to get through it and we are going to survive. And we encourage all of you to get ready for what is going to be the brave new world and the new normal. As a little bit of selfless promotion, we are also very excited about our website Smackdown, which is coming up on April 23rd. We are seeking people to submit their radio stations for critique. We got 3 experts. We have Kat Harleton, our very own SoCast expert. She is a master when it comes to websites and user experience. We have DJ Brett Maga, who's a social media guru, a morning show DJ out of Dallas, Texas. And of course, the digital dot connector, Seth Resler, who always brings an amazing amount of feedback on websites. Our objective is to help you identify some opportunities to, spruce up your websites, create more audience engagement and more digital revenue through them. So join us there on the 23rd. All of you should be receiving an invite, but definitely please submit your websites for critique. We'll be nice, I promise. Lastly, thank you very much, everybody, for attending. You are all welcome to this presentation, and most importantly, a free digital consultation with Thomas or myself. You can reach Thomas at TOMAS at SoCastDigital.com, and he will definitely walk you through our SoCast ad solution. Anybody who signs up between now and the end of April will receive a $250 ad credit on your first campaign, so you can add a little bit more value. You may be able to even use that for maybe one of your own promotions. So definitely take advantage. Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate the time and look forward to speaking to you all again and seeing you all at the website Smackdown on the 23rd. Take care.
Thank you so much, everyone. We look forward to getting your questions. Take care for now.